Once you make your first $1,000 online, you realize that this can work. I'm able to create success online. Please let me introduce to you Jeannie De Wet is a full-time freelance graphic designer. She is the founder and owner of Remotania Graphics. She focuses on the digital creation and poses of mascot characters to present content and branding. What excites you the most about online remoting?
What excites me most is being able to work from home. And I think if you think about it and you've never done it, you hear a lot of negative vibes about it. It doesn't work. It's very hard. You don't get the income that you would if you work a full-time job somewhere. So to me, it's very exciting to be able to see that it can work, to sit at home and do what you've done. I've done it for more than 20 years, going to the office every day, see clients and stress and be in the traffic every morning. And now I'm sitting at home, and to me, it's a far bigger freedom. I don't have a boss. I'm my own boss. You have control over what you do and for whom you do it and when you do it.
And what benefits of online remoting do you enjoy the most? Although you've given us a few there.
You see, like I say, with online remoting, the sky's the limit. Literally, the whole world is your oyster. Because now you're no longer limited to just working in your community or your city or your neighborhood. You work for people all over the world and you still do the same job.
And how is the reality of online remoting different to what you thought it would be, if it's different?
In many ways, it's the same as seeing clients face to face. You still have to communicate. You still have to follow up. You still have to see that your client gets everything he or she expects from you and that all the requirements are met. But on the other hand, there are physical things that are different in the sense that because you're working with people all over the world, you work in different time zones. You will, if you're working from where I am in Africa, I'm kind of in the middle of it. So some of my clients are 10 or 12 hours, I think New Zealand's 10, ahead of me. And then clients, I do a lot of work for clients in America, and they are between 6 and 9 hours behind me. Clients, for instance, in America, find they get professional quality work for much less because they work with somebody that's in a different country. I think that's a big advance.
And how has your view of yourself and what you can achieve changed as you realize you can actually shape your online future and live the life that you want, making use of online remoting?
I think this is a kind of a secret that when you start working online, the first thing you think you're not good enough. You don't have what it takes. Suddenly, you're no longer in your little fishbowl, your community, your city. You are working worldwide now. And your little secret is, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. People won't see me. And I didn't even know that it had a name. I learned from Remotania that it's called imposter syndrome. And I had to come to terms with this, that I can do this. I've done it for more than 20 years. I have the qualifications. And whether I do it just here in my community, in my city, or whether I do it worldwide, it's still the same work. It's the same materials. It's the same programs. It's the same background. So yes, that changed a lot. And when I started getting jobs, I realized, but I can do this. So in a certain sense, it's the same, but also in another sense, it's different from what I was used to.
Jeannie, what limiting mindsets held you back initially?
A lot of people told me, yeah, you can try, but it doesn't work. Somebody always knows somebody that tried it and it doesn't work, or they don't make as much as I thought they would, or it's hard getting your money, or you're going to have a lot of taxes coming down on you, and I don't know. And I guess the best way is to go and explore it for yourself. Initially, I tried this, and I think the thing that kept me going is that the circumstances I was in, I didn't basically have a choice, because where I am, there's no job around here for someone like me. So I couldn't go and work for someone, and also starting a business again wasn't viable here. I had the time, I have the equipment, and so I started. So yeah.
Great. And how did you feel when you made your first money online?
Well, I signed up and I started putting together a profile, and it took me ages, and I was very critical on what I had in my profile, and I felt all this stuff is so old, it's not up to standard. And then I started doing proposals, and I didn't have a clue what to say to the client. And I think that the thing you want to do is tell them how much experience you have in what your qualifications are. And I realized that is not working. So I got this very tiny, eeny-weensy job for $5. And this lady accepted. And I was so excited, I didn't sleep at night.
And then please describe your biggest wow moment so far.
Yeah, if I can describe it as wow, maybe yes. I did work for this client on my very low terms. He liked my work very much. And then he asked me for another job, which I did. And then he asked me for another job. And I said to him, I more or less estimated how many hours, and it would be something like $30 or what. And this man came back and he answered me, and he said, that is way too little for what you're doing. I'm going to double this.
Nice.
And if we get to a certain point and it takes more time, I will pay you more, because for what you're doing, this is not. And that was amazing. I didn't expect that at all.
Wonderful. So nice to have a client like that.
Yes.
And Jeannie, based on what you've learned so far, how did your aspirations for what you wanted to achieve in online remoting change, or did they?
Well, I saw the possibilities. I saw that you can really, this can work. Over a time, you start calculating how much you earn per month. And I'm actually amazed, because you work in US dollars, you think it's not that much. But if you really go and sit down and look back and note your income, then you see, wow, it's actually a lot more than I expected for the first few months. I think that changed a lot. It gave me a new perspective.
And with what you know now, would you recommend online remoting to a friend?
Oh yes, I've recommended it to quite a few people, but like I say, a lot of people are very skeptical, and I found that there are young people, especially other designers, that want to do it, but it is not easy to get in. And even if you are experienced, there are certain skills that you must learn, and there are certain viewpoints that you must change. And if you don't have help, it can be very difficult.
And how would you explain those benefits to a friend?
You can work for a company 9 to 5, go in every day, spend 2 or 3 hours in traffic. You have to ask if you in advance if you want leave. You have responsibilities. Often if you work and you're not there for a week, even if you've planned it, when you get back, all that work's just waiting for you, and it's chaotic. You have people that are disturbing you all the time while you're working. And now I'm working for myself. I can decide which jobs I want, with which clients I see I can work. It's not really that easy, but you have a lot of more control over what you're doing. You decide when and where you want to go, and then you're not available for that certain time. The clients you are working with, you tell them in advance what can you do before you leave. Then you earn more per hour. And this is one thing that is wonderful for me. is that you have a timesheet, what you work, if you work per hour, they literally, it counts every minute that you are busy. So there's no longer just quickly do this and you don't know the time, or sometimes you have a job and you're working and you work 2 hours, but you only book one. There's no such thing anymore. Every minute is counted. And I think that's very fair. And then you can work anywhere. If you have a laptop, you can go seaside, and still those clients that need support during the time, you can help them. You can spend an hour if you want and quickly do their stuff. And they won't even know that you're on holiday. Of course, you don't have to do it that way, but it's possible. If I decide now I want to move to a different city, or I want to go to a different country for that matter, I just take my computer and I go. I still do my work. I still get paid. I still have my clients. It's not like a business that you have to sell the machines and cancel the rent. And I've done that. Sorry, I don't want to do it again. And then you can even build your own company online. For instance, if I get a job and I just do design, but this client asks me now for a web design and for social media design, and I don't have the time for it, I can get other designers to do the work for me, and I just charge the client again. In that way, you have a whole online business. You don't have anybody that you're employing. You don't have to pay their sick leave and their pension and their office space. You don't have that. You don't have that responsibility. You only pay them what they earn online. So if you see those possibilities, it can even become a passive income. So yes, I think that's
so many benefits.
It just goes on and on and on. And the thing is that you are no longer caged in a business where you are responsible for all these people, or vice versa. You're no longer working for someone that you have to answer to, that probably doesn't even understand exactly what you're doing, or they only miss you when you're gone. So yeah.
Wonderful. And would you recommend the Remotania program to a friend?
There are certain things that you don't know and that you don't realize, even though you have years and years of experience. I don't think that I would have made it if I didn't get help. I signed up for another program, which turned out to be this pyramid scheme thing. They teach you how to do online work, but you have to sell their product. And so I said, sorry, this is not what I wanted. And they paid back my money. But because I was searching, Facebook then starts sending you all these ads. I got the Remotania ad, and I had a good look at this. And I decided at that stage, it's my only option to work online. And I signed up. I could immediately, while talking to her, I realized the benefits, because they have lots of programs to help you. And they have a whole course that you have to go through. They make you look at things that you didn't think is important. And it made you realize where you are in your own life, why you want to do what you want to do. Why do you need an income? Where do you want to see yourself in 5 years? How do you think this is going to work? How are you going to get jobs online? How do you write a proposal so you can get the job? What do you do with your portfolio? What do you do with your profile? What do you put on there? What do you leave out? And it doesn't seem important.
It's a minefield.
It is very important, because that is the only impression somebody gets of you before they give you a job. And if that's your foundation, if it's not right, you're not gonna make it. And I spent many weeks just doing my profile. It's a big job. So
yes, it really is.
If you don't have that support, and if you don't have the program helps you to get your first contract, they also do cross contracting, and you start to build a network. You start to get to know other people. Many of the people attending now this morning, we've contacted each other, and we are part of the group. So we support each other, and they know what I'm doing now, and I know what they're doing. So if I have a client and they want something done that I know one of the other members can do, I will refer him, or I will ask them to help me with this project. And that way you get more jobs, which shows on your profile. You get more referrals, and that all contributes to you enlarging your reference space. I don't think I would have been able to get here without Remotania.
I absolutely agree with that. And how would you describe the value of this program to someone?
I think, yeah, Marina said it to me that, yeah, you can't expect to make money if you don't spend money. I mean, you can't be a professional if you haven't completed a few courses and know the way things should be done. And I guess this is exactly the same, because if you want to grow and if you want to go forward, you have to spend the money and spend time and do the effort, because it's not going to happen by itself. So yes, some people look back and they say, oh, but this say Upwork platform, they also give lectures and guidelines, and they are very helpful, but there's a lot of things they're not going to tell you. And also you don't have a personal contact with other people, so you don't really have someone that you can discuss what you are learning or doing. And if you're on your own, it's very hard. It's really very hard to get past the first steps in really making a success.
And what were your biggest fears when you started out in online remoting?
Very overwhelming. So what I realized is that there may be so many people on that platform, but they are really, the biggest part of them never make a single dollar. So you must put in the effort. And that's where Remotania helped me.
And what motivated you to join Remotania?
I think to connect with other people, do cross contracting, do those $5 coffees. Really, you become part of a family, and you get to know people that support you online, and you get to support them as well. I think that was a big motivation, because where I'm now, I don't have all the people I knew in my field are far away, so I don't interact with them anymore. So I had to get some support, because it's hard to work on your own.
And now that you're starting to experience online success, what are your online remoting goals for the next 3 years?
Well, I would like to see that I grow further and that I get my portfolio in a better updated or current work that I can showcase. I guess as that progresses, then I will also get more work in my field.
How has your view of yourself changed for the future of your online remote journey?
I think, where I am now, I see that it can work for me. It can really work for me, and that I am capable. And you can't look at what other people are doing, especially in my field, because every person's work is unique. While there are many people that may not like my style or my approach or what I'm doing, or it's not suitable for their project or their branding, there are many other people for whom it is. I am capable of doing what is expected and to do it with success.
Wonderful. And this is the last question for you. If you could give one piece of advice to those who are considering an online remoting future, what would it be?
You don't give up. It is not easy, and it doesn't happen overnight. And you've got to work hard. You must work at it every day, and you must continue doing proposals, even if you get work. It is like this sales funnel. I don't know if you're familiar with that, where you must put in a lot at the top, and then at the bottom you get something out. So it's the same as building your own business. You are the boss, even though it's only you working for yourself, but you have to put in the effort. It won't happen by itself, but don't give up. If you could do it in your community, or if you could work for another company, you can do it for yourself.